Imagine being so respected, so admired, that a whole country, we're talking Switzerland here, declares the day you visit Science Day just to honor you. Well, that wasn't a hypothetical. That was the reality for Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, a leader people often call the man with zero haters. His words have lit a fire in millions of people. And this quote, probably his most famous, it really gets to the heart of what drives us, doesn't it? It's all about that burning ambition, that purpose. It was basically the blueprint for his entire life.
But here's the twist. Behind this incredible icon of hope and relentless optimism, there's a chapter to his story that almost no one knows. Yeah, you heard that right. The very man who taught an entire nation to shoot for the stars once found himself in such a dark place that he thought about ending it all. This is the story of how he pulled himself back from the edge to literally change history. So, to really understand him, we have to go back, all the way back to 1931, in a little coastal town called Rameshwaram. This is where a young boy was born into a really poor family. His dad was a boatman, and just putting 2 meals on the table every day was a constant struggle.
Young Kalam's grit was absolutely forged in that hardship. I mean, picture this. He lived in a tiny one-room house with his parents and 4 siblings. Oil for their single kerosene lantern was such a luxury that his parents would often just sit in the dark so he could have light to study. He'd wake up before the sun to get free math lessons, and by the time he was 10, he was delivering newspapers to help the family out. And you better believe he read every single one of them along his route. He spent hours and hours by the ocean, just watching the birds soaring effortlessly in the sky. And right there, a dream started to form. A dream that would define his whole life. He wanted to fly. He decided he was going to become a pilot. But a dream like that, it came with a huge price tag. The biggest hurdle was always money. To pay his admission fee for the Madras Institute of Technology, his older sister did something incredible. She pawned her gold bangles, the only valuable possession the family had. That sacrifice, that weight, would stay with him for the rest of his life. So, after all those years of struggle, all that sacrifice from his family, Kalam was finally on the verge of making it happen. He applied to join the Indian Air Force. This was it. This was his one shot. Now, the competition was insane. I mean, for the entire country, there were only 8, just 8 openings for fighter pilots. And Kalam's rank? He was 9th. Can you imagine? He missed his dream, the very dream his family had bet everything on, by a single heartbreaking spot. This wasn't just a failure. It was the complete and utter collapse of his entire world. He was heartbroken, he had no money, and he felt like he had no future. He traveled to Rishikesh, and standing there by the river Ganga, he actually considered taking his own life. But right at that moment, when he had hit rock bottom, a chance encounter changed everything. He happened to meet a spiritual leader named Swami Sivananda. The Swami could see the despair in his eyes, and he offered him these simple words of wisdom. He told Kalam that this failure wasn't the end. No, it was just a redirection. He said that fate had a much, much bigger plan in store for him. And that one conversation, it gave him just enough strength to keep going. So, with this new sense of purpose, Kalam joined the Defense Research and Development Organization, or DRDO. It wasn't long before he caught the eye of the legendary Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, the father of India's space program. He brought Kalam into his new Space Research Committee, and just like that, a whole new dream started to take shape. And what's absolutely wild is how they started. This team had basically nothing. Their workshop, a local church. Their office, the priest's house. And when they needed to get the rocket parts to the launch pad, they used bullock carts and bicycles. This was pure grassroots innovation, all of it fueled by an unbelievably powerful vision. His talent was so obvious that on a training trip to the US, NASA actually offered him a job. They asked him, "Join us. What is there for you back in India?" But Kalam's commitment to his country was absolute. He politely said no because he was carrying a much bigger dream, to make his own country a space power. As the project director for SLV-3, India's very first satellite launch vehicle, Kalam poured 10 straight years of his life into that project. We're talking no holidays, no weekends, but in 1979, the first launch, it failed. The rocket malfunctioned and crashed right into the sea. It was a massive public failure, and he stood up and took full responsibility. But instead of giving up, he and his team worked around the clock. And just 1 year later, they did it. They successfully launched the rocket, putting India into the very exclusive club of spacefaring nations. And that success was really just the beginning. From there, he went on to lead the development of India's most powerful missiles, which is how he earned the nickname the Missile Man of India. Then, in 1998, he was the chief architect of the Pokhran II nuclear tests, the event that established India as a nuclear power on the world stage.
So think about it. From a failed pilot to the country's most important scientist, Kalam's journey was already the stuff of legends. But remember what that Swami predicted? Destiny had one more, even bigger role waiting for him.
The boy from that one-room house, the one who studied by the flickering light of a single kerosene lantern, he ascended to the highest office in the entire country, becoming the 11th president of India. But he wasn't your typical president, not even close. He was known as the people's president. He was famous for his humility and simplicity, and get this, he donated his entire presidential salary to a trust for rural development. He truly believed that India's future was its young people, and he spent the rest of his life as a teacher, inspiring students right up until the very moment he passed away, while giving a lecture. From an unknown kid signing exam papers to a global icon whose autograph was wanted by millions. His life is just proof that success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about having the strength to get back up after you fall. And so, we'll end by turning his famous words back to you. The story of APJ Abdul Kalam really teaches us that sometimes our biggest failures aren't endings at all. They're just course corrections, pointing us toward our real purpose. So the question to leave you with is this: what is the dream that won't let you sleep?